Welcome back to episode 6 of the Asari, you beautiful people. And to start this episode off, we have done quite well in the other episodes of getting our little defensive line set up. So we've got a bunch of military turrets, and then it's supported by a double autocannon. On this side, we do need to check the second autocannon into this part, and then we're also going to need to start looking into getting some heavier cannons in the back here. So, everything will have to be filtered through this way. So if it comes onto the top side of the map, it comes round, comes down, and will then get put through into the kill zone across here. And then we also are going to want to wall off this section across here. So then it forces everything on this side of the map to come through as well and around. So we'll know where everything's going. It's not going to be a kill box as such, more of a kill zone, but I find them quite fun in Combat Extended. Now for over here, we do have some walls put in, which will discourage some sappers, but we do need to get a little hard point built into this section, so if anything comes through, it will buy us some time. We also want to put some rat runs into the corner so we can get around the map a bit quicker. We do have a rat run put in down here, and we also have this ancient danger in this section. Will we go after it this episode? Maybe, but we do not know what's in there, and we don't want to get caught out in the open and then get gunned down by a centipede, because that'll be a very, very quick and sure way to get wiped out. These walls across here need to be reinforced, and this section across here needs to be reinforced as well. You need to put some military turrets in, and that is the plan. We are going to fortify this episode because we have a pristine ruins pretty close by. If we can go off there and start raiding pristine ruins, we are going to be able to start getting some pretty nice tech and resources that we can bring them back to the base, and therefore we can build the base bigger, better and quicker, and then the raids will scale against us, and then we're just going to get into a whole bunch of killing. And these Reaper corpses are quite interesting. So they spoil like a normal animal, so if you leave them outside for too long, obviously they spoil, but they can be broken down like mechanoids. So we've got all of them onto haul urgently, so we're going to bring them in, try to break them down as quickly as we can, so that we can get the plasteel out of them. And I think what we will do is extend down this section a little bit, and we are going to go and put in our first lot of proper manufacturing, because what we want to do is we want to get a decent amount of bionics up and going. With those bionics, we're going to be able to move faster, we're going to be able to hit harder, our guys are going to be tougher, and they're also going to be able to carry more. And being able to carry more is quite useful, because that means we can carry more ammo. A slave ship is just passing by. Unfortunately, they have no Asari for us. But what they are willing to buy is a whole bunch of rice, which will net us 5,332. We'll sell off the iguana, because we don't really need that. As for what they have for us, it is not looking like they have too much. And unfortunately, they have no high-tech rounds. So none of the Mass Effect rounds, which means we are going to have to go buy some of our own. And they are super expensive to make. Well, not super expensive, but they're definitely not cheap. So to make one thermal clip, which is AP, it is 2 uranium, 2 steel, 2 plasteel and 1 component. And we get 200 rounds for that. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do until X, and then bring this up to 1,000. This means we're always going to have 1,000 rounds in storage, which in a pinch hopefully should keep us alive. We're also making the 20 by 110mm heavy autocannon rounds, obviously for the autocannons, and they are not cheap either. So we're going to need a lot more steel. And send about steel, let's just go and start mining this. And let's go wall this section off. We're going to be a little ways off from being able to do it, because firstly we've got this section here, and then we're also making the ammo. And how are we doing over here? We're still making the prefab components, but we're also making a Doomsday rocket launcher, because as we discovered in the other episode, tactical cloak and explosives is awesome and very, very powerful. With the research just finished for the Alliance Armory, we can now make an Alliance kit. And it is not cheap. 5 advanced components, 120 plasteel, 30 uranium, and 35 Devil Strand. Which means that probably by the time we get onto the N7 kit, they are going to require a whole bunch of Devil Strand as well. which then means to me that we need to get that researched, ideally sooner than later. So I think first thing we do is we just go Devil Strand and then redo the research. So from here we're going to go into the Heavy Alliance kit, into N7 Armory, then into N7 Weapons. From there we'll then move across back to the Complex Prefabrication and then Mass Accelerators. And I'll tell you what, let's go into the Ammunition modification as well. Devil Strand has been researched and that came along pretty quickly. But we are going to need a massive amount of this stuff because it takes forever to grow. So this whole section over here, we are just going to change across into the old Devil Strand. And also we are going to be able to sell it for a tidy amount. We did get hold of a trader and we managed to pick up a flat screen TV, which should stop our guys from being recreation starved for a little while. It won't hold forever and we will need some more tech. But as for recreation, what that is going to be, and most of that will come from the complex prefabrication. This stuff in here is pretty awesome and will keep our guys fairly recreationally satisfied. And also a couple of them give you decent perks, well not perks but boost your skills. So there's a VI interface, and once you use that, that increases your social skills. And generally the better your social skills, the more people like you. So if we can get on that, that's going to be pretty sweet. And I'm also thinking of picking up a few skill trainers, because we got 5.33 on Kelzan in crafting. GNU has a 5.5. And yeah, so those two. If we can get those two with some skill trainers, those skill trainers are going to get them trained up so they can start making some prefab components as well. As we have a decent amount of money, which is about 13,369, I think, as we're in the chance to, or the opportunity to, let's go pick up 2 advanced bionic arms off the bat, and then we're also picking up 4 skill trainers in crafting. Between bionic arms and extra skill trainers in crafting, we should be able to start working through a lot of this stuff super quickly. Gave the skill trainers to GNU and Kelzan, so they are both up to 14 in crafting, which is super awesome. And then who was our best medical? I think it was Benzir. Has a medical of 9.71, which isn't great. Decent. GNU has a medical of 12.64, so we might actually have to get it onto him. And what we'll do is we'll operate on Nixan. So she has 20 in crafting. Then if we give her 2 advanced bionic arms, she is going to be tearing through all of the stuff that we give her. We do need to sort her eyes out because she has a mangled scar and a permanent gunshot injury, so we'll have to find her some eyes sooner or later. But if she has really high crafting and then has very high manipulation because of the bionics, she is going to be tearing through all of this, well, crafting that we're having her doing. So get GNU onto that, he's ready on it, and let's hope he does not fail this one. Cool, so that's gone through, so the first arm is on. And what we said on the second arm is on as well. So Nixan is now going to be an absolute powerhouse. We want to keep an eye out for bionic spines if we can get them. Generally across the board, bionic spines are better, as they give you both manipulation and movement, whereas arms only give you manipulation and then legs only give you movement. And also help you carry a little bit more. So that's cool. So Nixan is going to be a bit of a beast now. Then also means GNU and Kelzan can do some other crafting alongside. And yeah, I think things are moving forward quite nicely. What we did manage to get, because we are sneaky, is we got another mechanoid power cell. I think we'll drop this one into here, which means we're going to need to take this overwall heater, and let's drop that there. We'll wall this in, and now we will not need to worry about power for a very long time. And we've finally got round to growing the first crop of Devil Strand. This is going to take a long time to grow, but I think within about 2, maybe 3 episodes we'll have the bio sun lamp, and then this section up here we are just going to turn into a massive greenhouse. So it being on hydroponics means that it grows at 280% anyway. Then you mix that with the bio sun lamp that can make plants grow 24 hours a day, and then we mix that with sprinklers on top, and all of a sudden things like Devil Strand actually grow at a decent rate. At the moment, Devil Strand will take how many days? It will take 22.5 days to grow normally. You mix that with the Bio Sun Lamp, that takes that down to 11.25. Then you put that onto the old hydroponics, and you're down to about 4 or 5 days, which for us would work pretty sweet. Then you mix in the sprinkler, and then you're down to about 3 days. So it'd take the same amount of time to grow some heel root with all of those things bolted on as it would for a standard rice harvest. So for us, that's going to be awesome. Does mean we are going to need to level up our growers, or they are going to be there for a very, very long time just trying to plant and harvest it. Alright, we have the mech hive coming in, and it looks like it's a decent sized raid as well, so imagine it's going to be mainly ciphers. Yep, and they're going to go straight up through the centre of the kill zone, which means we don't really have time to mess about. We'll get into a gun line, seeing as that just seems to be the default strategy right now, and hope our mini turrets can do what they need to do. Auto cannon should be able to shoot when they get up to about here. Okay, no, it shot a lot sooner than I thought it'd be able to, which is good for us. And just from the sheer amount of sprays and rounds going down, and then being armor piercing, these guys should start getting nuked apart super quickly. Okay, no, they just ran straight through that. So, Terra, what we need is Bionic Singularity just there. Try to cover GNU. That will pull a bunch of them in. We got Domination going off as well, which works quite nicely for us. And I'm going to need you guys to move back down here, so at least we can have a little bit of cover. We would be semi-alright in close combat, but it just seems like a very, very bad idea. Okay, yeah, so a little bit of kiting and moving around, and that was fine. Which makes me think that this does need to be walled off as such. These cannons kind of work. They work better against humans, because humans panic and then hide, and then we can shoot them down. Whereas the mechs, as we saw, just went straight through the centre and then nearly closed in. So if we have embrasures and heavy walls in the back here, we should be able to gun them down fairly quickly, and then if they do come in, they're stuck against the wall, so they need to get through the wall first. But that is something that we will need to work on. Noticing we're going to run into a problem putting this turret in here, because if we build the wall across here and then across there, we are going to be blocking this military turret in. So I'm thinking our best bet is we move the door up to here, so then they have the same entrance point. Gonna need to cancel that one. Actually, no, we'll leave that there. Then what we're going to do is we'll just dig around the back, come down, and then we'll have the entrance just here. And put the steel industrial door in. That should keep this fairly safe. Yeah, there is the door there. So if they slot the needle somehow and an Inferno round comes in and blows that up, it shouldn't be able to pass through and take this one out. It might be able to, and that would be super annoying. And then also this is one step too far forward, so this is going to have a pretty narrow field of fire. But either way, it is still a big old cannon, and if anything does end up in the middle, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Over here, we have managed to get the first rat run in. This wall here is now fixed. Processor room has been walled in, so what I am thinking is steel prefab walls. Chuck this around the geothermal just so it doesn't get wiped out, because that was fairly expensive. Then we come down here. Well, we'll take that bit out. Come down to here. Steel prefab door just there. Then we go in the zone, remove roof area, so this will not be roofed in. And then we're going to put a similar setup to what we had in the ice sheet, where we just have the turrets on the corner, so that can semi-defend itself. And off the back of that, we do have a slave ship coming through. So once more, we're going to head over and see what they can do for us. Some Solarians, some Vultures, Butarians, and humans. Nothing we're too interested in. We will sell them all of our rice once more, because we're getting a decent amount of that, and it sells for a respectable amount on top. Sell off the levers, we're not going to use them. They can have our herbal medicine. Doing alright on steel. Could do some uranium. Plasteel is holding pretty well. And they do have 786 disruptor rounds, which we will definitely pick up. Other than that, nothing too useful for us. And as this area down here is finished, we will put in 2 fabrication benches. They're not super expensive, but they're not cheap. And then also a bionics bench into advanced bionics bench. And we'll do the old storage trick. So into storage, into pallet. We'll make the pallet out of... yeah, it's going to have to be steel, unfortunately. And we'll put that there. So that will hold gold, silver, plasteel and uranium, which is pretty much everything we're going to need other than components. But the things that require the components won't be as often, so we don't mind them running up and getting them. But it does mean when these guys are making components and advanced components. But what it does mean is when these guys are making components, all they need to do is go down to here, back up to there, and then we'll have them drop on floor. So we're going to have a whole bunch of production, which is going to be pretty sweet. It does mean we're going to need more crafters, or the crafters we do have, we're going to need to upgrade, which we'll be able to do off the bionics bench and then the advanced bionics bench. So I think that's going to work out quite nicely. We'll get a couple tool cabinets, put them in for the extra production boost. And yeah, that is looking pretty good. This section is coming on okay. If we just get rid of all of, well, we'll just get rid of the chunks here. That area is fine. We're walled off, already seen that. And this is coming along slowly. Production room is nearly up and ready. We've already started kicking out our first lot of components. So we have it set so they make 100 and they just drop on floor, which works pretty well because we also have another build set for making advanced components, which is also drop on floor as well. So once it gets busy in this section, they will literally finish components, drop on the floor, then there's a second craft that comes in, they can just pick the components up and then make the advanced components, which get dropped on the floor once again. However, then we go to this bit, and what we do is we start kicking out some bionic arms. Do cost quite a lot in the way of plasteel, but components are super cheap. But what we need to do is we need to build the basic version, which is the bionic version, so that then we can take them and then upgrade them into the upgraded bionic arms. So they will require 1 bionic arm, and then it's a matter of an extra 20 plasteel and 4 extra advanced components, which makes them somewhat expensive, but not crazy expensive. But we can start getting that up and going super soon. Just realised we haven't put in the Element Zero extractors. Now they do cost 200 plasteel and 6 advanced components, so somewhat on the expensive side, but I think we put 2 in for now, and then we're going to create in a way that we can scale the size of this. So we'll come across here, and then down, and then across once more. So we're going to have them in blocks of 2, and then we can always just bolt an extra 2 on each time that we need to expand. Issue with these is you cannot walk underneath them or around them. So that means we're going to have the doors on the front. This way also means if a drop pod comes in, a drop pod cannot land into these sections and wipe them out, because they are fairly expensive and they also take 10 days to create the Element Zero. So if we can protect them, obviously that is going to be a good thing. Do need to get onto a metals trader so that we can get some more plasteel in, and then with that we can start our Element Zero production. Well, this is pretty unfortunate. We do have the mech hive dropping in straight on top of us. I'm not sure what's going to be. It might actually be a centipede, seeing as there's only one thing. But I guess we will find out whenever it's ready. Cool, centipede. Let's get... okay, sabotage is already going off, which isn't going to help us. Hit it with an overload. And then Terra, I'm going to need a bionic singularity right there. Cool. Hopefully it's caught in there. But we seem to be doing decent damage. We got decent armor penetration. And that could have gone a whole lot worse. What do we get? We got 1,000 rounds of 12x64, centipede, corpse, and 81 plasteel, which is not too bad. Quite happy with that. That's going to come along. That's going to take a while. We are nearly done with the components. I say that, but somehow we managed to lose a crazy amount. Where did all the components go? I am not too sure where those components went. I thought they might have gone into making the advanced components, but we really haven't made many of them. We aren't building anything on there. We're not really doing too much over here that require the components. That wouldn't have used them up. And these don't require components, they only require advanced components. Interesting. A bit of a mystery, but I guess we could solve that in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be Conti. All your likes, comments, sub support have been amazing. You guys are awesome, and I'll catch you on the next one.